Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unleashing Potentials podcast. Today's special guest is Angie. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here with you already from our conversation.
Yes, yes. Angie, you have roots in Canada. I understand you're in the States. Whereabout are you?
So I'm Fort Myers Beach currently from Ohio, but my mom and my entire Canadian family is still in Quebec.
You don't want to come freeze with us?
I mean, it sounds so appealing and everything, but I'm going to stay here for now.
Yeah, so happy to have you. Can you tell our listeners who you are and what you do?
So in a nutshell, we were talking before this. Really, my journey started after the loss of my dad in 2009. I was a first grade school teacher. I thought I'd do that the rest of my whole life. And when he passed, we lost a bunch of people in a short period of time and rocked our worlds upside down. And really just was the catalyst to this whole world that I didn't know existed of, personal development and quote unquote quotations here, self-help and all the things. And so I really just found a humongous passion for this. I realized how little I knew as a teacher and as a human, and really went on a quest to learn more and share more. So I started hosting women's retreats just as a hobby.
Yeah.
Really didn't think it'd be a business. I just really wanted to share what I was learning. And fast forward, started mentoring other people who were seeking the same things. And it's just been a beautiful evolution. And the last few years, I've been working on really getting a lot of this work to the lives of our youth through various vessels and tools and like a lot of mentorship and support that way.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that you're helping the next generation because at times that I find that there isn't enough resources. There are some, just not enough, especially for youth, when it comes to mental health or other aspects in life. But for adults, because I don't know, not all of us are smart, especially with mental health issues, they may, society may see us as more dangerous than youth, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in full transparency, we can't give away what we don't have. And so I think a lot of us were raised by families who did the best they could with what they had. But there was very little conversation about this. There was very little knowledge about this. There was very little support and guidance. So, we were raised with families who were doing the best, or teachers that were doing the best, but like they couldn't guide us in how do you deal with things that are really challenging, and how does your subconscious mind work, and how do you process grief instead of trying to just move along, right? And so all of that stays stored in our minds, our subconscious minds, our bodies, and then we just life perpetuates from that. And so I think it's really cool that we're in a time where we're like your podcast, where we're having these conversations. Like, let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about grief. Like, let's actually talk about these things instead of trying to sweep them under the rug. And that is so healing in and of itself, for someone to say, like, I get you, like we part of the human experience is challenges and losing people and that type of like
Mhm.
trauma. So it's perfect, to be able to have spaces for this.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. What are some steps and tools that you used for yourself to overcome the grief and pain you felt?
Sure. So, I mean, first of all, I just want to say this, like when my father passed in 2009, I had exactly zero. So I had been teaching for 13 years, had the master's degree, the things, and I still had like zero understanding of the subconscious mind or our nervous system regulation. I knew no things. So it's been a journey and evolution throughout, so far. But I also want to say too, I'll share some of mine, but the one thing that I feel like I've learned in this journey is it's not one size fits all. Like none of us are the same. So what works for one might not be the thing that works for another. And so I really encourage people to really like tap into your intuition and try different things and say, like, does this work for me? Does this land for me? And then also be open and receptive to maybe in another season trying it again on for size and say, does this work for me today? Because we're always changing. But I found some tools such as like EFT, emotional freedom technique tapping. Are you familiar? Have you done that?
I've heard of those. Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay. So that has been extremely helpful because it kind of chills the nervous system a little bit, the amygdala, the fight or flight part of our brain. So EFT tapping. I also really think it's so important to find mentorship or guidance or someone who can help guide you and maybe hold a flashlight that's a step ahead of you and says, like, I know what it's like to feel how you're feeling right now, but you're not alone, and like, let's walk together. So I think doing that. We have a lot of experts on my I we have a little team for to get this in the lives of youth, and one of them in particular, her name's Isha, and she really teaches children how to feel the feels, like really feel it in your body. And so many of us are so used to like just moving on, just like get through it or mask it or suppress it. And
Mhm.
so she has like a plethora of tools of like welcoming it or feeling it and really just allowing the emotion, which is energy. We're all energy, energy and motion. It's meant to flow, it's meant to move. We aren't our feelings or our emotions, like we're the awareness of them. And so when we can begin to differentiate that and say, okay, I can experience it, I can be the awareness experiencing the sensations or the feelings of the emotion, but I don't need to suppress or stagnate them. And I don't need to think that I am them. So I think really just utilizing a lot of tools that will help you experience the feeling, understand the messages in them. I think they're just little messengers saying, hey, did you know this thought you're thinking right now is creating this? And so there's a lot of practices we can implement that way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I find when it comes to grief or grieving, um, many of us got programmed subconsciously very young. Maybe it was our great great parents and then parents, grandparents, whoever it may be. And then as adults, we're a little clueless as to how we can reprogram ourselves. What
Mhm.
would you say to those who are struggling with understanding how to do that as an adult?
Yeah. So there's a couple things here. So are you familiar with paradigms? So paradigms are the mental programs. So exactly as you said, all of us, every human on the planet is conditioned. We and some of those conditionings are amazing and some of them are less than ideal, but essentially just a little of the science behind it, the it essentially our subconscious mind. So we have our conscious mind, which is our thinking mind. We have our subconscious mind, which is our emotional mind. Okay. Our subconscious mind is over 1,000,000 times more powerful as a data storage center than our conscious mind. This is why we don't need to relearn how to walk or talk or eat every day. It's wonderful. We don't have to relearn how to make a sandwich. Like we just do it. We don't even think about it. We just do it. And so that's where it's very helpful. However, when it's not helpful is if during the time when the lid of our subconscious mind was wide open, which is usually around until around age 7,
Mhm.
any it can only accept, it doesn't know how to reject. So anything that we've gone through during that time, it just accepts as truth. It creates its own narrative. It just says, okay, this is life. And then around age 8-ish, the lid goes on essentially, and life becomes a mirror to what is in that subconscious program. Now, this becomes our operating system. This becomes our beliefs. So our lives are essentially like 98% just habitual. We're just doing the same things as we did yesterday. To take the lid, I'm doing quotations again, off the subconscious mind to create new programs, there are basically two ways. So, one is through spaced repetition, hearing the same thing over and over. This is where affirmations become really helpful. So, say in your subconscious mind, you have a belief like, I'm not good enough. And many of us have had experiences in our lives that have led us to have this program. I'm not good enough. Oh, am I? Blah, blah, blah. Now, for a while, when we repeat this, I am good enough, I am worthy, I am capable. That's really why it's so important to get this work to our future generations when they're young, because there's less conditioning in the subconscious. But
Mm,
at first, it's just a conscious thought. I am smart, I am worthy, I am wonderful. But in the stored subconscious, it's like, yeah, right. Don't you remember your whole life you've been practicing this belief? And then you're saying it.
yeah.
But through spaced repetition over time, when this conscious thought becomes ingrained and it becomes more powerful than the old program that's in the subconscious mind, a new paradigm, a new belief is created. This is what we see when we see transformation. This is when the new belief has become a subconscious program, and then that person is now operating from I am worthy, I am capable, I am wonderful, I am
Mm,
fill in the blank. And so the spaced repetition is one. And then the second way to create a new paradigm is through an emotional impact.
mm,
Again, this could be positive or negative, right? If we've had some of us have had like life altering moments. For some people, it's like 9/11, having a baby, getting married, getting a divorce, little these life altering, they change us, right? We're like, I'm a different version of myself than I was pre this.
mm,
Now, if we do intentional emotional impact, so when we start generating feelings, so this is where it's really helpful to use tools such as, say, you do a vision board and you're playing, let's say on your vision board, you see yourself in Italy, and then you play Italian music and you listen to, you are listening to Italian things, and you're smelling Italian food, and you're putting yourself, you're creating an emotional, a feeling that generates the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is
mm,
how people are able to create lives by design, and they're creating a new program, so it's less powerful of the old stored program. I can't do this, I'm not worthy, I am. And a new program, this is who I'm becoming, this is who I'm embodying. And so when that strengthens over time,
mm,
people are able to create lives that teeter more into what they love and less into what they fear.
mm. Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna show you a book that I started to read.
Yes.
My guides, they really mess with me.
Oh
So I don't know if you can see it
no, I can't.
here.
Empowerment Solution. Love it. Who is that by?
What's his name? Friedman Schwab, FRIEDEMANSCHAUB. And it's
Awesome.
called The Empowerment Solution, the 6 keys to unlocking your full potential with the subconscious mind. And we're talking about it.
I love it. And it never gets old when you get that like
Yeah, yeah, and I'm getting ready to talk about it on my YouTube channel about the subconscious mind and healing and grief, and here we are.
there
I
you
love
go.
how it works that way. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Dr. Joseph Murphy, if this is your jam, he has a book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and it's like, whoa, yeah, yeah.
That is so cool. That's really cool. Yeah. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to touch on?
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like nothing happens for nothing, and I feel like if there's someone that's listening to this today, I remember starting my journey, and I'd come across the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So I would just say, just be open and receptive. Start playing the game of life. Um, the way that I envision it. Did you ever play the game of hot and cold when you were a kid? Like somebody would hide something and they'd say, "You're getting hot, you're getting hot, you're getting
Oh,
hot."
yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So I guess I just feel like life is always playing the game of hot and cold with us. So like that was a perfect example. It's like you're getting warmer, you're getting warmer, you're getting warmer. And then when there's contrast, because there will be contrast in Earth School, then
Mm,
you're like, okay, I'm getting colder, I'm getting colder. How can I take the next U-turn to get warmer, to get warmer, to get warmer again? And so I think just listening to the nudges, being open and receptive,
mhm,
being curious, like just asking questions and being curious, what's next for me? What's next? And just as you gave such a beautiful example there, it's like we're talking about the power of the subconscious mind. Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Okay, this book is the power of the subconscious mind. Okay, that's cool. And then it's like now the next thing's going to be given, the next person, the next encounter, the next, and life does get to be, more of a game in that way. And prior to you and I getting on here, we talked a lot about loss and contrast and grief, and
Mhm.
also knowing that that is part of it. You aren't broken, you don't need fixing. Like, there, if you are feeling in a time right now where we're having this conversation and you're like, I can't even imagine life being playful or fun because I am on the bathroom floor, snot bubble, ugly crying. Like,
Yeah.
be okay with that. That's where you are right now. It's not a forever thing. It may feel like a forever thing, with what you might feel like you are in the forest with no way out. But I
Mm.
promise you, like, following the next step, reaching out if you need help, doing the things slowly, 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 you'll climb this little tree and you'll see that there's this beautiful landscape and there's fresh water and there are clear paths and there are flowers, and it's available all the time, even when you feel like you are in the dense forest and you cannot take another step forward. So I want to say that life has duality and it has polarity, and I feel like the more that we can hold space for the all of it,
Mm.
knowing that in this moment things might be so wonderful and beautiful, and drink that in and love that, and in another moment life might feel so difficult and unbearable, and hold space for that, and then continue to do the walk of appreciating where you are, understanding where you're going, giving yourself self-love and self-compassion, reaching out to others and linking arms, and just
Mm.
begin to hold space for all of it, because I know that Bernadette has had moments where she didn't know she could go on. I have had moments where I didn't know I could go on. And I'd love to tell you that once you do the work that there aren't going to be those moments anymore, but that has not been my experience. I've still had moments that have rocked my absolute world. Um
Mm.
and I knew that it wasn't complete there. There's more to it. You can go on. You will go on. There's a power inside of you that you don't even know exists, that it is available, and it is there right now. So, I think that's just what I'd say. If your heart's hurting, it's okay. Honor it where it is right now.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I love everything you shared. Thank you so much. You're also a podcaster. What is your podcast called and what do you talk about?
Yeah. So I was sharing with you, it's funny to hear you say I'm a podcaster, because I started my podcast in 2020 with exactly 0 experience of podcasting, but I read about the statistics of suicide and addiction, and I was like, I have to do something. I'm stuck at home and I need to do something. So I started it. We're restarting it over. I've learned a few lessons. Um but it's called the Sip and Soul podcast, and basically it's about sharing your soul's journey. We talk about all the things like nothing is off limits, and also about, raising another generation of humans who have some tools that we didn't have when we started our journey. So I started a program called CAPE, which is helping children create a powerful life experience. And
Mm.
so it's for children, it's for adults, it's for teachers, and really just giving us a plethora of tools and resources and people who can support us, as we go on our journey. So the Sip and Soul podcast, the Cape Global, is the name of our community, but we share a lot of free resources in there too to help support
Mhm.
people as they're going on their journey.
Yeah, that's really cool. So powerful. Amazing work that you're doing as well. I love it all. Where can, where can my listeners find your podcast and other resources and all the amazing work you're doing?
Awesome. Thank you. So it's Cape Dash Global is the Cape Global program. So we have a portal that is launching, should be by March 6th is our goal, but there's a portal that'll be launching. So Cape Dash Global. I have UR Dash Empowerment for my own personal mentorship. And then the Sip and Soul podcast. So I think it's on all the things, and would love to have you on there as well and chat
Yeah,
more about.
definitely. Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love the power of sharing.
Same, same.
Mhm.
That has been like probably the number one lesson that I've learned in this journey is that the more we can link arms, that the oak trees withstand the storms because they link onto the roots of one another. And I feel like that's how we will withstand the storms of life, is by linking roots together. And so same connection, connection, connection.
Yeah, I agree. So, Angie, as we wrap up, I have one last question for you. But before I ask you that, is there anything else you'd like to add as we conclude this episode?
I think I feel complete. Yeah, I'm sure as soon as we hang up, I'll think of something great.
And you can come back and share it.
Deal. Okay, deal. Deal.
Awesome. So, my last question for you is, what is the meaning of life for you?
I think the meaning of life is to realize who we are, and to be of highest service to others as we do that. I think it's part of our soul's evolution, is to just continue to learn and to grow and to experience, and honestly to be fully expressed in this life, like to just release a lot of the conditioning and express fully, because I think when we do that, it's of highest good to all.
I love that. Well, Angie, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all you do. And thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you. I don't know how we became in each other's worlds, but I'm so glad we did. Thank
Yes,
you
me
so much.
too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mm.